Hello everyone, welcome back to part 2 of Strategy, and let's continue from where we left our previous talk. So continuing with the aspect that the period of completion of sale is very important, and that is the reason why it is important that the contract mentions time as to within what time period shall this particular contract of sale is considered to be complete. So, in absence of the above mentioned process, as I mentioned in the previous uh, talk, that the process can be prolonged by either of the parties. So, that is the key to ensure that the sale happens. So, now let's look at some of the liabilities of the seller or the vendor, and I'll read each one of these carefully. Uh, the first is to disclose material defect in the property which the purchaser is neither aware of nor is in a position to discover with ordinary care. Many times, in case of a sale deed, we've seen that the vendor does not disclose every aspect of the property, especially the legal aspect. If there is a dispute, or if there was a previous buyer who could not go through with the deal. And it is very important that many times the buyer may not be aware of such things. And so it is very important for them to disclose all the details. Second, to make available title deeds to the purchaser at his request for inspection. So all the documents pertaining to the property need to be verified by the buyer and his advocate. And so for that matter of fact, the vendor should provide all the possible documents that are required for the title search. Third, to answer all material questions which the purchaser may have in respect to the property or the title thereof. Right? So there may be a lot of questions, and they all need to be answered to the best of the vendor's knowledge. To execute and register the sale deed or conveyance deed in favor of the purchaser at a proper time and place on payment or tender of the consideration by the purchaser. So once all the uh, transaction money has been received by the seller, it is seller's duty to ensure that he signs the sale deed and pays or gets the stamp duty paid and get it registered on the name of the buyer. To take care of the property and the property documents from the date of contract of the sale to the date of sale of the property. So until the sale is complete, it is the vendor's duty to ensure that all the documents pertaining to the property are very well taken care of. None of the documents is destroyed nor should be misplaced. So the security of documents is a vendor's liability until the sale is complete. To hand over physical or symbolic possession of the property as the case may be to the purchaser. So we talked about the aspect of possession in our past sessions, and the possession has to be given as per the due time as and when required during the sale process. To pay all normal outgoings for the property, example, property tax, any encumbrances, any lien, before the agreed date. So, if a sale takes 6 months to 1 year to complete, all the payments that are required, the revenue payments, the property tax payments, any electricity bills, things like that, that is the responsibility of the vendor. And vendor cannot say that I am already in a sale process and so I don't need to pay for all this. The new buyer will pay. That is not what should be done because the new buyer will only start paying for all the taxes once he has got the possession and the sale is registered on his personal name. What are the liabilities of the purchaser, the vendor? First, to pay the price of consideration to the seller, whatever that case may be. Once the ownership of the property is passed on to the purchaser to bear all losses arising by destruction, injury, or decrease in the value of property not caused by the seller. So many times, once the ownership has been passed on, if there is any loss due to destruction, let's say road widening exercise, or some kind of loss in reduction of land due to town planning scheme, or any decrease in value of property because some development is coming right next to the property, which may not be in the owner's interest in terms of market value. All those cases are to be borne by the new buyer or the new owner of the property, and to pay all normal outgoings in respect to taxes or other bills that may be. So once the possession has been taken and once the sale deed has been signed, it is the liability of the vendor to pay all the outgoings as needed. Now let's look at some of the rights. So those were the liabilities. Let's look at what are the rights. To begin with the rights of the seller to receive the consideration as per the agreed terms of the condition, to take rents and profit of the property till the ownership of the property is passed to the purchaser if not otherwise agreed, to have charge upon the property to the extent of the part of consideration left unpaid and interest thereon. This means that if until the sale is complete, even the buyer, or sorry, the vendor, the seller has a charge on the property. Uh, so until 100% is not paid up, even the vendor has a charge on the property. So there is a case when two parties have a charge, especially when the sale is in the process. What are the rights of the purchaser, the vendor, to any improvement in or increase in value of the property and to the rents and profits thereof after the ownership is passed on to the purchaser, to have a charge on the property to the extent of consideration paid, including earnest money deposit, interest cost in case the seller does not deliver the possession of the property on time. So this is very clear that both the parties here have considerable amount of charge on the property, uh, depending on what is paid or what is left. So let's go ahead. So just to summarize very quickly all the steps of the sale deed, very quickly. Uh, First is verification of documents, title search, acquisition of title, public notice, preparation of the conveyance deed draft, giving the seller a copy of draft conveyance and approval, and taking the income tax clearance certificate. Notice to be given under the Urban Land Ceiling Act before the transfer of vacant land. This is one NOC that is required. Obtaining permission from the lessor, if applicable, that is, if there is a lease on the property. Taking the possession of the property, if not already taken, the stage of agreement of sale and mutation of the more property, that is transferring the name as what we call registration. These are some of the very basic steps. And now finally let's talk about the title. It is a duty of purchaser to examine the title produced by the seller carefully. Verification of the title shall be done at the following three authorities. One, you should verify it at the sub-register office. Secondly, if it's a land, at the revenue authorities. And thirdly, at the office of the municipal corporation or the urban development authority. So these are the places where the title can be verified. Now let's examine what should be the period of title search in case of sale. The search shall be carried out for at least 42 years. So from the date of the sale, so if a sale is happening, let's say in 2020, and you can go 42 years back. So you need to check until the year 1978. And this is derived from the limitation act. Like the government, the limitation period is 30 years, and for private is 12 years. So adding the two, it's 42 years. Beyond 42 years, if there are any title issues that cannot be resolved, especially when we talked about title, regarding the right to possession and actually having a possession, how these two things are different. And so, for the practical purposes, as per the law, 42 years of title search is enough if you were to prove any kind of encumbrance or marketability of the title for a property. For hidden mortgage charge or any other rights, public notice shall be given in the local newspaper. So, usually you give a public notice and wait for 14 days for people to claim their charge. And what we mean by hidden charge of mortgage is sometimes even the vendor may not be aware of such certain charges. If he or she himself has bought a property which is having a defective title. And the final aspect is the mutation of the property. So, in the revenue records, essential to order facilitate the revenue collection authority. So, if it's a land, especially in agricultural land, you need rectification in the 712 form. And if it's urban property, on the property card, that now you are the new owner of the property and the new buyer will be responsible for paying the revenue to the government. And as per the laws of the state, when there is a registered sale deed to procure 135 is not necessary. This is something we'll discuss some other time because it's a very long process, but 135D is a notice that is usually given by the government in case there is, or it is given by one of the seller or the buyer in case there is some problem on revenue line. So we don't need to get into details of that. Okay, so that was what a sale deed looks like, and I'm going to try and simulate this using Excel. Let's see if I can simulate what we just talked about. And this is for those who may have still not fully understood what a sale deed should be like. Let's try to simulate using Excel. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to type in agreement sale, and this is a precursor for the sale deed. And what we're going to do here is this will be our timeline. So we just have timeline here as to what's happening. And let's say that our timeline spans something like this. This is timeline. Okay, and let's see, this is day one. Okay, this is uh, week 4. This is week 8. This is week 12. 16. Or just let's keep it 2 weeks. Not, it's all right. Let's keep it this way. Let's say it's a 24-week process for the agreement to sale. That's roughly about 6 months of timeline you have. And so you have the uh, seller here or the vendor here who is selling the land, and then we have the buyer here or when who is buying the property. So let's put what is the vendor supposed to do? He's supposed to give consideration as EMD, so that could be 10% of the money. In week 8, he gives installment 1, which is another 40%. And believe me, this is all money by check. So total 50% is paid. Let's again installment 2 of another 40%. And maybe finally installment 3 of 10%. So maybe that's the payment plan for this particular agreement of sale. Let's say that. Again, this is a hypothetical scenario. So this is what Wendy is supposed to do. This is how the money is coming in this deal. Okay. Color here. Get behind some glitches here. Okay, while this is happening, so what Wendy is doing is Wendy is basically paying 10% to begin with, followed by 40% in week 8 and 40% in week 12, sorry, week 16, and finally the remaining 10%. That's his consideration. So we'll just write this is consideration of money. What else is happening? What is the vendor doing? Well, vendor is probably providing all documents here that are required for doing the title search or title verification. The title verification is 20 euros. Yeah, this is consideration. So again, let's give this a different color code because this is something that is being done by the vendor. The title search. Okay, so title search is happening in week 4. It's a total 2 to 3 week process. He may not do it immediately. And who's doing it? The Wendy is doing it. Wendy is doing the title search. And the documents are provided by the vendor. Once title search is over and it's a marketable property and it's proved, and another 40% of installment is paid. This is when the 50% of money is received. And let's say there is also a cash component in this. So let's say this is cash consideration, which the vendor is supposed to pay. When should this be paid? Well, this can be paid maybe not early on, but after the title search, maybe 50% is paid here, and another, let's say, 50% is paid here. In other cases, it's important that 100% of cash is received before the final official check value of the consideration is received. And maybe it is at this stage, after this is received, uh, the vendor could give possession of the property to the vendor. So what is the vendor doing is giving the documents, helping with the entire process of title search, and eventually giving the possession on receiving 90% of the check money and 100% of cash money. And once this is done, at this stage is when you could say after the completion, the final sale deed is drafted and registered and signed. And so it is at this stage that you have the sale that is complete from either side. So that is what a simulated process of, so agreement of sale ends here. So it ends here. And sale deed is drafted and registered. Now, if an agreement of sale is registered in the sub-register office and a partial stamp duty is paid, then only the remaining stamp duty is to be paid for the sale duty. So in case of Gujarat, the stamp duty is 4.9%, as we know, and registration is further 1%. I mean, this is assuming that the property is not in the name of a female. And so this is what it looks like. This is what the transaction looks like. And it's interesting when the possession passes from the vendor to the vendee, and the title also passes from the vendor to vendor. This is how it looks like. So I hope you have more clarity with what sale deed looks like. So there is an agreement of sale uh, which is represented by this timeline here, and it is only after the completion of agreement of sale and all the formalities that the sale deed is drafted. So this happens after the agreement of sale is done. So that concludes our uh, talk on sale deed. If you have any questions, uh, please message me on our official WhatsApp group. You can also email it to me, or you can all collect questions from everyone and send me the file, and I will try to resolve them, uh, making a new video if required, or else I will just answer them by sending you some documents online or some videos online if they are very fairly simple questions which may not require too much of an argument or discussion. Uh, and so this concludes our module 3 on legal aspects in real estate, where we covered title, different types of transfer, and the sale deed in detail. So from our next session, we begin module 4, which is marketing and finance, and that will help you immensely to complete your final real estate project. Okay, so thank you.